Hey everyone, welcome to my Dark Souls 1 boss tier list here. We're going to be giving these bosses a good solid looking into, and then putting them up on these rankings here. I'm going to try and give a bit of a restrictive ranking to each of these here, so I'm not gonna try and override them too much once I've decided what S, A, B, C, and D means. But for S, what I'm gonna go for S is that I enjoyed the mechanics of the boss. I liked the design of the boss, and I very much get excited about the idea of like redoing the fight with that boss, with like different weapons, different loadouts, and stuff like that. And then I would say for A, I would say A is one where I really liked the design, the mechanics, but I'm not necessarily as excited about fighting them again. For B tier, I'm going to have it be where I only like either, or let's go. I favored the mechanics, and the design was, it was fair. And then, because I'm going to say that I probably would be rating them more on the actual gameplay aspects rather than the design and stuff like that. And then for the C tier, it's gonna be I was pretty on both design and the mechanics. And then for D tier, that will be the one where I either just flat out didn't like any of them or just one of them. So and then they'll scale it up based on that. So first boss is the Four Kings. Definitely is at least a B. I would say the Four Kings is 100% not a C. But is it a B or an A? I feel like even with the design being really good, the moveset of the actual bosses seemed a little bit kind of just average. I'm going to go B for starters here. The Four Kings are a really cool idea. They're a really cool idea. The setting that they're in, I think it's definitely one where I favor the design over the mechanics, and thus I'm putting it in a B tier. This is the guy in the sewers, right? The guy with the really cool cutscene, but he just gets wrecked when you beat him in the head, right? I think Gaping Dragon is in a weird spot for me. I really like the design. But the mechanics, because I've gone back and played against this guy like in the last week, and he does not hold up. The design is great, but I would put him either at the bottom of B tier or even high C tier. I'm gonna put him high C tier for now. I feel like it would be just wrong to put him in B tier based on a lot of the mechanics with regards to him. He also is one of the weird bosses where when he does his charge, he opens up too much of a damage window, and it's so uninteractive that you might as well just use the massive arena to just kind of move away and just go smash into the wall, cool. And I'm going to come in and wail on you DPS and run away. I think in some ways the size of the arena that he's in, and in some ways the size of the boss, makes him kind of average. But he does have cool design though. This is wait, is this what is this? Oh, this is Sif. Oh my god, it's Sif. Of course. Sif is a doggo. So let's be real. Sif is at minimum a B. At minimum a B. But in a lot of ways, what makes Sif wonderful is the idea that it's a unique design as well. Like a dog that you'd be like, oh, it's a dog. It's a big wolf. Okay, cool. But no, it's got a big sword in its mouth. It's got a sword in its mouth that it is wielding in an adept way that you would think a dog or a big wolf would wield a sword. The thing is, while I am inclined to put it in A, and I'm thinking here, the main thing is that the fight itself is actually a bit repetitive. I think it would actually be just kind of easy. I think I got a little bit lucky when I faced Sif in my stream. So I think for this one, it's going to be an A. But yeah, there's definitely some bosses that will go above Sif in the A tier. That's for sure. But definitely one of the more memorable bosses in terms of the encounter itself. All right, what do we got here? Gwen? This is Gwen, yeah? Oof, Gwen. Okay, design is a good design. Gwen feels like our kind of dark future. But not dark. Our future, flame, future, F. If I had an F tier. No, I'm just kidding. I think that Gwen has things that would bring Gwen into B tier, but it's a low B tier for me. I think Gwen, unfortunately, in terms of the actual mechanics of the fight, was not good. So I think we're going extremely low B for Gwen. Yeah, unfortunately, I would say for the final boss, not really all it's chalked up to be. But hey, cool lore. The golem, the big golem in Sen's Fortress. Iron Golem is kind of forgettable. And it's unfortunate because Sen's Fortress is great. Like, it's annoying at parts. But Iron Golem, I think Iron Golem is a high C. I think if anything, it might even be a middle C. Yeah, no, I'll put it here. I don't have a lot of good things to say about the Iron Golem, but the way you can interact with him, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't actually have that much to say. Moonlight Butterfly. There's huge chunks of time where you're not doing anything against Moonlight Butterfly. In some ways, while I would say there's potential in the design category, I think this is the first D tier for me. I think this is honestly one of the more forgettable bosses. I don't get excited about fighting them again. The mechanics are yeah. And then the actual design is as well. So it's either C or D, but I'm going to put her in D. All right. One of my favorites, Nito, guys. According to my tier list stuff, Nito, I don't think can actually be a B. Nito is an A or an S. And the thing is with Nito, when I think about the idea of fighting him again, I like the idea that the skeletons are going to be a part of the environment, and I don't hate them. Like, the idea to have his spells have that AoE effect, and he can just swipe his blade and kill his own skeletons, and you get rewarded for manipulating his movement in that regard, I think that's amazing. I do think that timing his upward plunge attack is something that I just have to get used to, so that could be something where I get a little bit salty. But first the Undead, first to the S tier, guys. Nito is one of my favorites. Like, one of my favorite designs of all the bosses, and in terms of an encounter, having the variety and stuff. So, I would say that he's a well-deserving S tier boss. Ornstein's Mouth cannot be below an A. They cannot be below an A. Design, fantastic. Amazing design. Mechanics, it's two bosses, and they're both wildly different. I think being able to look at them in, like, say, the speed run, for instance, it is something of a patience boss. It is one where you are kind of hard capped based on your damage. It's going to just take you longer if you take, more time to be able to kill one of them. So I would say in a lot of ways, yeah, they have good mechanics. It's built into basically at what point in your progression as a character when you come in there, how will you be able to do? They have to be at least an A. But in terms of, am I interested in going to fight them again? Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm very interested in fighting Ornstein and Smough again with either different weapons, different styles, different builds, anything like that. Ornstein and Smough are debatably, I would say, they're debatably better than Nito in a lot of ways. Oh, this is Pinwheel. Oh, ha, yeah. Who this? Who this? Who this? Oh my god. Oh man. Pinwheel. This is hilarious. Okay. Environment, setting, all that. Teleporting, clones, all that. Cool stuff, my dude. Get some HP. I will put you... You know what? I didn't put difficulty into this tier list ranking thing here. I'm gonna put him bottom C. Yeah. Design is kind of meh, honestly. It's okay. But I can't put it in D. I didn't dislike anything about this boss, except maybe the health, but I didn't put that as a criteria on here. All right, Scythe. Oh, Scythe. Okay. I think, personally, Scythe as a dual encounter cockblock boss, I did not like the mechanics of Scythe, personally. I loved the way we unlocked the fight with Scythe. That was cool. But in terms of actually what we got with Scythe, the design, he's a crystalline dragon with cursed, crystals and stuff. It's cool. It's awesome. Mechanics-wise, yeah, I feel like he is either the highest C or the lowest B. I'm going to put him at highest C. I feel like Scythe is a boss that once you're actually there and you think about just actually engaging him, there's not really much to it. Is this the tutorial boy? If this is the tutorial boy, then yeah, he does what he's supposed to do, but no. Design-wise, mechanics, I don't like any of them. He's just there to be difficult if you don't know what you're doing. So, yeah. And in some ways, the tutorial is better because it was the first one, and then the other one is literally just the same one, but a little bit stronger with magical AoEs and stuff. Holy shit, I have no idea who this is, too. What the heck? Did I even play this game? This is the Taurus Demon. Oh, Taurus Demon. Okay. So Taurus Demon, I have a little bit of nostalgia for. The main thing that I like with the Taurus Demon, specifically within the mechanics, is that he feels like he's just scary enough within the level that you're at when you start the game, in that he is potentially, able to kill you. Taurus Demon, I would say, would go into a low B category, because I think that the mechanics overall are decent for just being what he is. He's in some ways the better tutorial boss, I would say. Bed of Chaos. Because they allow you to keep the progress on the Bed of Chaos, No, it's the worst boss. No, design-wise. It's the worst boss. Artorias. Let's talk Artorias here. Artorias is one of the bosses that I would say is best handled in how he is foreshadowed before you fight him. You start getting to know Artorias long before you actually fight him. And what I'm meaning by getting to know him, you are seeing other characters that have interacted with him. Because we get to know Gwen in the very beginning of the game via the cutscene, but I'm not talking about that. That's just a lore dump of exposition. We get multiple characters getting info on him there. He, in some ways, is a representation of what the Abyss is, which is going to lead you to one of my other favorite bosses in the game. But Artorias is a fight that, in terms of just the franticness of the fight, I think he's only rivaled by Ornstein and Smough. Design-wise, if I had to have him compete with Nito, Nito just barely edges above him for me. The Artorias Guts connection thing is really cool, but I would say Nito and Artorias are almost interchangeable in that I like Artorias' mechanics a little bit more, and I like Nito's design a little bit more. So I would say that Artorias is an easy S tier. It's just a question of where on the S tier he gets. Yeah. Artorias is incredible. If I wanted to show someone, wait a minute, no, he's better than Nito. He's better than Nito. Because if I wanted to, I was going to say, because if I wanted to show someone an out-of-context boss in Dark Souls 1 to where they would play immediately, like they would play the game right now, I think I would show our Artorias fight. Kalameet. I would say that what makes Kalameet not necessarily an S tier, though. This is my thing with Kalameet specifically, is that he is a dragon, and thus he gets an immediate A tier in terms of design, like 100% an A tier. And I do very much like his mechanics. His mechanics are fantastic, but I am not as interested in playing him a second time. I would say he is one of the highest A tier bosses, but he can't be an S tier. I'm sorry, guys. A tier for sure. I think that everything surrounding him as a boss, in that he's not really like a mandatory boss, if that makes sense, but you're encouraged to go fight him. I think the boss mechanics within his actual, like, you know, fighting him and stuff like that are great, but also outside are pretty cool as well. All right, the big boy, immediate top of S tier, my favorite boss in the game, Manus, Father of the Abyss. This boss is my favorite boss in Dark Souls. I love Manus so much. And the thing is that, weirdly enough, the reason why he's kind of my favorite is the setting. You end up going into the dark, dark abyss, and you've already experienced the four knights, you know, at this point. The four kings. And then seeing this guy that looks like a dark demon Balrog, but has these weird, like, human qualities about him, and then has, like, a caster's staff, so you're like, he's intelligent. He's very intelligent. And then he has this shadow arm. Like this boss was very easy to understand what he was doing and when he was doing it, and yet he was difficult. His mechanics felt properly challenging. And, like, even when I was coming in with, like, crazy, you know, gear and everything, I loved everything about him. So design, mechanics, replay value, all of it out the wazoo. Okay, this is the sanctuary guardian whatever guy, this guy. I really don't like this boss. I really don't like this boss that much. Design holds up a little bit, but I'll give him a C. I'll put him here. Yeah, I don't really like this boss as much. Gargoyles. So, Gargoyles are an A tier. I don't even really have to think about this, because I think when I was thinking about doing this tier list, I immediately knew where the Gargoyles would be. The Gargoyles are almost the perfect boss. They're almost the perfect boss. The reason why they go into the A tier, for me personally, the mechanics of the fight are good enough. I would say they're good enough to solid. The idea of fighting down a boss that you see, you know, come out of the area there, and he, you know, attacks you, and he's got his big weapon and fire breathing and flying up and landing, and he kind of dodges you and stuff. Mechanics are great. I like them. He is in some ways, or they are, the Gargoyles, in some ways kind of the first, like, hard boss. And hard in huge air quotes. Because you guys saw my experience with the Gargoyles and stuff. Because you guys could probably just be like, no, the first hard boss is probably Capra Demon. I'd be like, I know what you mean. The Gargoyles, you face one, you get one down to half health, second one pops up, starts spamming fire everywhere. If you're not that good, that second gargoyle is going to be a nightmare for you. That was me. I think the mechanics of this boss are almost perfect. The design of the boss, with them being gargoyles and then the map location being on the roof towers, all that, it works. It just works. Am I that excited about refighting them, though? No, not really. Not really. The gargoyles are kind of a joke now. And that's almost unfortunate, because I think if I rated this tier list like even before I'd finished the game, the gargoyles might be like a low S tier, actually. Because one of the things that's exciting about replaying the gargoyles is not only how fast can you kill that first gargoyle, it's basically that you could intentionally make it more challenging for you by leaving the second gargoyle up and trying to kill the second gargoyle like first, before killing the first one. So if that was the case, then I might give them an S tier. Capra Demon, in some ways, I would say I have the most varying thoughts about. I think the Capra Demon is actually one of the... It's a weird way to put it. So when I say mechanics, that involves things like the layout in that regard. Not the art of the layout, but the layout itself. And then the actual movesets, the ads, all that stuff. I would say that the Capra Demon has things that are personally. And thus, I would give the Capra Demon actually like a mid-B tier. It's weird to say, because when I beat the Capra Demon on stream, people were telling me how lucky I was. I was like, okay, I'm super lucky. But it wasn't until like weeks and weeks and weeks later that I ended up then trying out a sorcerer magic thing, and I couldn't handle Capra Demon. Like I literally could not beat it. I got just completely cock-blocked by the Capra Demon. And it wasn't because of really anything other than the fact that I didn't have a weapon that could deal with the dogs fast enough in order to actually face the boss. So the hardest thing about the Capra Demon is the dogs, if you're not prepared for the dogs. So as an encounter as a whole, because you have to consider it all part of the boss, basically. I would say that mechanics-wise, it's pretty good, but design-wise and all that stuff surrounding it, it just feels odd. Just feels odd in general. Yeah. So if anything, I could see the Capra Demon being a C, but I actually kind of like the fight mechanics of it a little bit, so I'm putting it as a B. And this is our demon guy, right? Our lava demon. Ceaseless. Oh, this is Ceaseless Discharge? Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So Ceaseless Discharge is, in my opinion, just an oof of a boss. Personally, I think this was poorly designed. I can almost put Ceaseless Discharge in C for the discharge. Like this boss is clunky as hell. I'll give him bottom C, like very bottom C. But I think that's me being generous. Yeah. Oh, this is Centipede Demon. Okay, gotcha. Centipede Demon. I liked the way he woke up, and the design on that regard is really cool. I think his mechanics are just bad, personally. I like the way he kind of bites you and stuff like that. But then when you fight him down there with the camera and stuff like that, I think in that respect, actually, he's down here in the D tier. Yeah, I really didn't like him. I don't know if there's much to say there. And then this is Quaylog. Yeah, this is Quaylog. Here we go. Yeah, I can definitely tell because we've got our sexy lady here. Quaylog. I think Quaylog design-wise is fantastic. Fantastic design. I think that the mechanics of Quaylog are fair to good. I think Quaylog goes high B tier for me. Quaylog, as far as presentation, design, all that, good stuff there with the kind of the freaky factor, but then also the berserk style, human mutation into the spider bit. But then the actual set of moves that is there, because you have to deal with the flame sword wielding, witch on top, but then you also have to deal with the spider parts with the head there. Very, very cool design and stuff there. Okay, and this is the one that I just faced. Priscilla? This is Priscilla? So Priscilla, I feel like, is an automatic B tier in a lot of ways. Design, with the humanoid fur coat stuff, the tail, the Reaper's scythe. I think design-wise, she's incredible. Since there is a kind of a secret boss element to her, I think that mechanics-wise, I don't feel like I can fairly rate this boss because I did her post-endgame, right? I actually, weirdly enough, because I like both the design and the mechanics enough, and I do kind of want to replay her because I didn't necessarily get the best experience with her, that technically kind of puts her in the S tier, doesn't it? Yeah, no, that's I think she's the bottom S tier. Yeah. I think she's actually S tier. Yeah. The main reason why I'm interested in replaying her is because of the fact that I kind of beat her super easily. But also, I want to know what would have happened if I just jumped. That's a really curious thing there. I think mechanics-wise, she might be held back a little bit, but I do like her mechanics. So she fits all three of the criteria. Hey, Gwyndolin! Okay, so Gwyndolin, you are not an S tier boss. You are not an A tier boss. I don't think you're a D tier boss. I would say Gwyndolin is in this very strange place where it's not right to put Gwyndolin in C tier. It's not right to put Gwyndolin there. B tier, the reason why I would choose either design or mechanics, one or the other, is that the design, I think, is phenomenal. And I don't really weight design or mechanics any higher or lower than the other here based on this list. So in that respect, I would say it's just going to be competing here for the top 3 in terms of mechanics. Maybe even top 4. I actually think I'll put them above Four Kings. Yeah. There we go. All right, and then is this the fire tutorial boss that's in the lava area? Because yeah, I think that is the tier list. Where would I put Gravity on this tier list? Right here. Oh wait, no. I wouldn't want to replay against the Gravity boss, even though I don't have a choice. I don't like the design of Gravity, but the mechanics of Gravity would put Gravity into a B tier. So Gravity would go above the Capra Demon, below Gwen, right over here. I want to know, though, like, where do you guys put your tier lists for the Dark Souls 1 bosses? I want to see them. So send me yours. I'm curious. Tweet it at me. DM it to me. Whatever. Give me some reasonings. Give me some reasonings on the ones that are very different from my rankings here. Give me the ones that are like really different. I'm curious there. Yeah.